In the small village of Umyuk, there lived a high school girl named Kachi. Among her classmates, she was mocked and called Mary Amaka. Not because her name was Mary or Amaka, but because she was too churchy, too holy. She refused to join in gossip, parties, or little mischiefs her mates engaged in. She dressed decently, avoided boys, and was always carrying her Bible to school. Her friends laughed at her every chance they got. See Mary Amaka, forming holy. You too they pretend. You know they live life, they would say, and the whole class would burst into laughter. Sometimes they bullied her openly, hiding her books or mocking her in front of teachers. It hurt Kachi deeply, but she tried to stand firm. Yet, the more they laughed at her, the lonelier she felt. After a while, Kachi began to feel tired. She wanted to belong, to feel among. She thought maybe if she stopped acting so churchy, they would accept her. And that was the beginning of her downfall. One afternoon after school, her so-called best friend Ada came close to her. Ada was the ringleader of the girls who mocked her. With a fake smile she said, "Kachi, come sit with us. You no need today do all this holy again. Just chill with us small. You go enjoy." Kachi felt surprised. For once, they wanted her around. That day, she followed them to a small joint not far from the school. They introduced her to smoking and drinking. At first, she resisted. But when they laughed at her again, calling her small Pekin, she gave in. From that day, her life changed. She began sneaking out after school to smoke, drink, and flirt with boys. She became rude to her parents, insulting her mother and ignoring her father's advice. At school, her grades dropped badly. Teachers who once praised her now shook their heads in disappointment. At the same time, trouble entered her home. Her parents' marriage was crumbling. They fought day and night, threatening divorce. Kachi, who once had a happy family, suddenly felt like her world was crashing. Instead of turning to God for strength, she turned further into the arms of her new friends and their bad habits. Depression grew in her heart, and she stopped caring about doing what was right. By the time she finished high school, her life was in ruins. She failed her JAM exam and couldn't enter university. When she reached out to her friends, hoping they would support her, they cut her off. Ada and the others had moved on, chasing their own lives. They told her she was too wayward, too wild, and not in their league anymore. She realized they never truly loved her. At home, her mother begged her to learn a skill, fashion design, catering, anything that would give her a future. But Kachi refused. She felt too proud and too broken. Years passed, and with nothing to do, she turned to prostitution in the city. One night, she met a wealthy-looking client at a hotel. The man promised her big money if she spent the night with him. Out of desperation, she agreed. But that night, she had a strange dream. She saw herself in a dark room, and the man she had just met was standing there with red eyes, chanting strange words. Suddenly, a woman in a white robe appeared. The woman's voice was calm yet powerful. She said, "My daughter, run. This man is not what you think. He is a ritualist, and he seeks your life. But your father is still waiting for you." Kachi shook her head in the dream. "I don't have a father. He left us. He divorced my mom. I am alone. Nobody loves me." The woman touched her shoulder and said, "Your true father has never left you. Return to him." The words echoed again and again until she woke up in fear. When she opened her eyes, it was still night. The man was asleep beside her. On the streets that night, she broke down in tears. She realized the father in the dream was not her earthly father but God himself, who had just saved her life. She prayed in the middle of the street, asking God for forgiveness. The next morning, she returned home. Her parents were shocked, but when she knelt before them crying and asking for forgiveness, they embraced her. It was the beginning of her turnaround. Months later, as she was going to the market one Saturday morning, she saw someone she never expected, Ada, the same friend who had mocked her and led her astray in secondary school. But Ada looked different. She was dressed decently, almost like she was going to church. When Ada saw Kachi, she froze. Then she dropped her shopping bag, ran to her, and fell on her knees in the middle of the market. Kachi, please forgive me. Please forgive me for all the things I made you do back then. She quickly pulled Ada up. Ada, stand up. It's okay. I have forgiven you. I gave my life to Christ years ago. I am married now. But I have been struggling to conceive a child. Because of the way I pushed you into sin. I just want you to forgive me, so I can have peace. Kachi was speechless. She asked her, since when did you start going to church? You, Ada? Ada nodded. I met Christ a few years ago. He changed me. But I have carried this guilt about you. That's why I begged to see you today. Tears filled Kachi's eyes. Ada, you don't know what happened. The same God you now serve pulled me out of darkness. Don't carry this guilt anymore. The two friends hugged, both crying in the middle of the market. They exchanged numbers and promised to keep in touch. Years later, Kachi turned her pain into purpose. She told them how she had been mocked for being Mary Amaka, how she had given in to fit in, and how it almost destroyed her life. She reminded them never to be ashamed of being decent, never to feel shy about being Christian, and never to give up their values to please others. Her message was simple but powerful: standing firm is better than following the crowd. Because one day, those same friends who laughed at you may come running to the same God you held on to. Kachi's story became a light in her community. She showed young people that no matter how far you fall, God can still lift you up. Moral lesson: peer pressure can destroy lives, but God's love can restore even the worst mistakes. Stand your ground, hold on to your values, and never be ashamed of doing what is right.